Hello, once again, Kaijudo Masters. I am Poji Force, and this is the tournament finals for May 12th, 2013. Duel Day Finals. On the left is Nicholas Gray, also known as the Luxac King. Don't blame me, he picked that name for himself. On the right is myself, Sean Castor, also known as Poji Force, also known as the Kaijudo Hatter, also known as I Have Too Many Names. So Nick's on the Yu-Gi-Oh mat, and I'm on the Spellgrounds mat. Nick was running Birds and Bottles, also known as Greed Dragons. Basically, his entire deck was nothing but Firebirds and Big Dragons. And my deck was Dark Saberbolt, a variation of the deck I created back in the Evil Fury era. That was Saberbolt, Aqua Saberbolt at the time. It is now Dark Saberbolt with a whole bunch of discard, rushing to the discard with mana generation and early aggression.
15 seconds or more.
And this was a four-man double elimination tournament, so I was undefeated going into this tournament, into these finals. So Nick on the left has to beat me in two matches in order to win. I only have to beat him once. Nick was 1-1, I was 2-0. And we're shuffling up here to start game one. Dice rolls to see who goes first. Nick rolled a 10, I rolled a 9, which means Nick gets to go first. Which is scary because Dark Saberbolt relies on the early aggression, and being one turn behind at the start means that Nick has a slight advantage and makes it easier for him to stabilize and fend off the attacks. He starts with a Storm Spark Blast. I got the Prickleback, 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 Pickleback, Nickelback. He's got the Lux. And at this point, I'm daring him to attack me with the Lux. Prickleback will eat that bird.
Because I know Nick likes to try to outrush me.
And I make a comment at this point in the background about how I know Nick likes to outrush me with his birds. He's playing a bunch of birds. He knows not to attack me, though. So I throw out a blocker because I know he's going to try to build up his board before he can do anything. The one thing that I'm terrified of at this point is a turn 4 Lyra. Because he's got two birds. It's turn 4. Turn 4 Lyra. Scary. It's exactly what he has. So now he knows that I really can't do anything. I would love a barrage and shields right about now, but it's probably not going to happen. So the Gloom Hollow untaps. Unfortunately, Prickleback's kind of stuck where it is.
Charge the puppet. 4.
And I Bone Blades the Lux. That turn 4 Lyra, though, is going to be the end of me. Turn 4 Lyra is an extremely difficult thing to deal with because he's got this really big guy out pretty early. Nick wanting to turn 5 bottle, but he had no water mana. Thank goodness for that. So he's swinging. I'm waiting to see what he's swinging at. I'm going to block. And I have Bone Blades.
My turn.
Not with me. The other shield trigger that's pseudo draw is search the depths. You reveal the top.
And now I'm kind of just being desperate, trying to go in, do some damage. Because I know that Lyra is taking 2 shields next turn.
Go.
Actually is just
He had the turn 4 Lyra. That hurt. And I did get the Sabertooth. That hurts more. But then again, if he breaks 2 shields, he might give it to me. That'd be nice. And he knows I have 5 mana. And he knows I have Prickleback.
I'm talking at this point about what Nick knows and what I don't know. And what I do know. I know Nick doesn't have discard. He knows I have Prickleback. He knows I have 5 mana. And he knows that I run Sabertooth. So he's running a risk here. But he did hit the Gloom. He did put the Gloom Hollow out. But I had the Bone Blades. So I'm still hoping for a Sabertooth to do something about that Lyra.
Did I give it to you? No. Wish you did.
And at this point, the only thing I can do is puppet him.
The Gloom Hollow.
And I get rid of the last Gloom Hollow. Nick has a remarkable odds at drawing that Gloom Hollow for some reason. He always seems to have a Gloom Hollow.
The puppet's gonna kill the Lyra anyway. He had a good start. I had a terrible start. And it's not getting any better.
And Nick gets the Nyx. As I said, everything he runs, aside from the Gloom Hollow, is birds and dragons.
Right.
And I don't think I'm in a position to do anything at this point. I don't think I can.
Moral victories.
Like, moral victories,
Next.
banish the
You
Knicks,
win
and
this
he
game.
wins game one. Nothing I can do about that, Lyra.
You can do it.
Let's get some Sabertooths this time.
So we're going into game
I've had that
two.
Nickelback since turn 1. Can see a single other beast skin. Would have been nice.
So when do you get your neurons? They're not mine. Ah, they're
It would be nice to see Terrapins and Shields.
I
Kinda
agree.
like what I did.
Just like I would like to see some root traps and shields. Just saying.
I like to see any shield blast and shield, seeing as I've only seen one.
And we're talking about shield blasts at this
I was
point.
able to stall out a little bit for the
Just
early
one?
birds, but I didn't have the. You had the Lyra, and that completely screwed me over because I didn't have the Sabertooth to deal with it. If I had the if I had the,
The Terrapin?
well, no, because it was turn 4 and you went first, so there were I couldn't even if I had the Death Smoke, I couldn't have done anything. I don't play Terrapits in this
Yeah, he plays root traps.
because Lux can't stop Root Trap.
What was that called?
Yeah, spy mission is one of them,
And again, if you would like to see the profile for this deck that I used in these tournaments, there will be a video going up after this one of a deck profile for my version of Dark Saberbolt. Game two is starting.
Go.
Pretty uneventful first two turns. Nick did not have the turn two bird this time. I was grateful for that.
It's a 6 drop. I'm trying to get to other things.
And Jacob Kessler, I think is his name, was questioning my
The Bolt
playing Barrage and mana,
Bone Blades. Go.
and I'm trying to play it off that I'm trying to get to bigger and better things.
Don, at least your deck's working.
Fact of the matter was that I had another one in hand. I had both Barrages in hand. So I had the freedom to play one. I didn't want to advertise to Nick I had another. He puts out the Gloom Hollow.
Go.
I'm still not going anywhere fast. I think at this point, though, Nick's scared to start breaking shields because it's getting to turn 5, turn 6. He's got the Knicks out there. He tells me to go.
Go.
I play mana and I pass. I could Barrage right here, but I know I'd only hit 2 creatures, so I decided to wait because I know Nick runs a lot of birds.
Thankfully, it looks like Nick's kind of was too.
And I'm waiting to see what Nick will do.
He's not doing a turn 5 bottle.
He is playing a Lyra. Thankfully, he's got nothing to hold down.
He hasn't played bottle on me all day.
And thankfully, I've got just the answer. With a Death Smoke to deal with the Lyra. And he drew a card. I'm hoping he'll place a bunch of birds now. I was really gambling here. I'm going to admit, I was gambling. But in the end, the gamble paid off. He plays a Lux and a Nyx. And now, I play the Barrage.
Barrage.
And he's just so dumbfounded by it that he's just like, really?
Wow.
Yeah, that's his turn 1.
That sucks.
Double.
And
Yeah,
Jacob and
I was holding it. That's why I threw
Nathan
one.
are just like, wow, that hurt.
Discard. Go.
That really hurt Nick a
I'm
lot.
gonna wait because I know he has more birds than that. Making slow roll to his dragons.
So I just killed 4 of his dudes all at once. Good for me, not so good for Nick. I think I'm at 7 mana at this point. So I go to 8
Shatter.
and shatter him. Just hurt all the pain. All the pain.
We're both topping horribly, but at least I have creatures now. Go.
And then I play a Prickleback because it's all I got.
Wow.
Kind of a weak follow-up at that point. And he bottles, and I'm just like, really? Really?
Cut again because I don't feel confident about that first cut.
And if I recall correctly, he gets a... Okay, so he gets a Gloom Hollow.
Okay. Okay.
Not the best thing to see when Prickleback's out on board, but it's not the worst either.
Go.
Could have been a nasty old dragon. He's at 7 mana, I think. 3, 6, 7. And there's another Gloom Hollow.
You're starting to irritate me.
And I'm like, you're starting to irritate me because he's got all the Gloom Hollows out. I got the Sabertooth. Sabertooth can't do nothing. It's Gloom Hollow. Any Loguses?
Okay.
And then that puppet.
Showed them to me.
And I think I have the choice between Bottle and Terra Pit. Hard to tell. It's off screen here. But I think it was between Bottle and Terra Pit. And I think I end up going with the Bottle.
Yeah, I'll do bottle.
Because Bottle,
Better than you getting a free dragon.
I'd rather, yeah, as I said in the video, I'd rather he kill something than flip an amazing dragon that I have to deal with.
Be funny if you did.
So I'm happy that I got a puppet out now because Gloom Hollow cannot. And he charged the Terra Pit, so I was surprised. It made me a little nervous. It's like he charged a Terra Pit, he must have something better. So I Reap and Sow, trying to get to me some better options and more mana. Charge a Skull Shatter.
And for 5, Tornado Flame.
Tornado Flame getting its uses in. Trying to thin out his field a little bit. Break a shield. I think he's trying to decide what he wants to hit.
More mana if he wants.
Yeah, what?
I'm like, you can give me more mana if you want to.
9.
9.
This means I can do more in a turn.
Or you can hit the puppet. I'm pretty sure it's a Terra Pit. So he can, yeah, and he Terra Pits the puppet because he knows that it can get by Gloom Hollow and Sabertooth can't. Sabertooth, of course, though, is the double breaker. So I think at this point he's got 9 mana. He does. So he plays the Dracothane, and at this point I strongly recommend to him to get the Gloom Hollows. Now I know he would be tempted to get the Lux to protect his dragon, but I know I have a Root Trap. So just being nice here, I'm telling him you should probably get the Gloom Hollows. Because I can't get by the Gloom Hollows right now. They're just too much trouble. And the Lux is not going to do a damn thing to save that Dracothane. So just for his benefit, I tell him, if you're going to get anything, you want to get the Gloom Hollows.
That was the smart play.
3 of them.
Yeah, like I said, if I were him,
Because I know I have a Root Trap in hand, and I know that Dracothane's not staying in play, Lux or no Lux.
Triple breaker. Yes, yes.
5.
And I play that Root Trap right now and get rid of it.
1 for Prickleback.
More creatures that Gloom Hollow can block without problems.
Got more blockers than I have attackers. There's no point in me trying to go in.
And then he plays the last bottle. And we're seeing what he gets here. Nick has terrible bottle luck against me, though. Well, not terrible, but it's not as good as it was against Jacob, most definitely. And Nick's deck's getting quite small, too. So let's see what he flips. He flips a Death Smoke. And he Death Smokes my Prickleback. He's still scared of that Sabertooth.
And he's got the
At this point, though, I'm not sure it matters. Probably would have been safer to hit the Sabertooth. Because I have 9 mana. Any one card I draw, I can play.
I knew I had more than that. There we go. Fortunately, I top decked the realest thing against that.
And then I drop the Infernus, the Awakened, and that's just the card to deal with the field like this. As long as he doesn't top a Death Smoke or a Terra Pit, I'm good. Even if he tops the likes of Andromeda, Andromeda is only temporary. So finally, Nick decides he's going to Bone Blades the Sabertooth, so I don't have another big guy in play.
It's game 2, right?
yeah.
And then I Razor Hide, attempt to triple, banish a Gloom Hollow.
She said TMI.
He can decide whether or not to block.
Boom, boom, boom.
He's choosing not to. Probably not a good idea. I just took 3 shields.
Game 2. Go.
Next turn, he's not going to get the chance to block.
Yeah. Creature power 4,000 or less. Also, when he comes into play, he also can't play anything now that's 4,000 or less.
I didn't know the part when he destroys something. He swings.
Also, when he comes into play, he's really good.
So Nick's in a really tight spot now because
Kinda
Infernus
count
is
on
in
the
play.
fact that I think most of it, if not all of his Terra Pits have been used. There's one in the mana zone. There's one here. So he's got one more somewhere.
I feel like it's this one.
And Nick's saying he thinks his last Terra Pit is the last shield.
But that's why.
And it's kind of freaky how psychic he is because it turns out that it is. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
He has no more Draco things left, so I don't have to worry about him pulling those Luxes out of the discard pile.
So there's the Andromeda.
And Andromeda,
2 more shields for him. Like I said, at this
not
point,
gonna help much,
Andromeda
unless there's a lot of really good blasts.
Andromeda doesn't even really slow me down much. All I have to do is play 1 or 2 more creatures.
This is nice.
I'm just trying to deck.
5,
So 5, Death Smoke the Andromeda.
because he doesn't want me to kill him.
Sabretooth,
Swing, banish.
banish his last Gloom Hollow and break all 3 shields. Turns out that shield was the Terra Pit. Nick is
That
psychic.
last shield. Which means no more Terra Pits
And
out, which
I
means
have,
you
like-
with Infernus. Go.
Oh my goodness, like 15 mana right now? Like half my deck is in the mana zone?
Yeah, there's nothing bigger than Infernus.
And Nick's scoops. He can't do anything. He's got Lyris, but he can't stop the Infernus. Can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. So now it's 1-1, and we're going into game 3 to finish up this match. Nick gets to go first.
Anything good in the shield?
Shuffling up. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And we're talking about my shields. Nick actually didn't take many, if any, of my shields that game. He had a really, really bad start for birds. That's one of the dangers of birds and bottles is that while you can get that early bird rush, if you don't, then you're stuck doing nothing till like turn 6. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get that turn 5 bottle into a really amazing dragon, but otherwise, there's just no helping it.
It's a dead day in
It was a really slow day in the shop that day. A lot of our group was in Wisconsin participating in Kaijudo Master Challenges, KMCs. Congratulations again to Jara, I think it is, and Carl Michoto for their top 2 invites. Hopefully I'll be earning myself some awesome stuff at KMCs next weekend, June 1st.
Like you had shaved or even cleaned up in weeks. His mullet's grown back out.
And here we go, game 3. Let's get this started.
Like all over the place.
It's weird how Nick does that, like lays his hand face down and counts to make sure he's got 5 cards.
Okay.
Orion to the mana zone. Root trap to the mana zone. And there's the turn 2 Lux. One of the most irritating things to see him play against me.
You're going.
And he's Gloom Hollow. Bone Blades. Get rid of the Gloom Hollow. Deal with that early aggression like a boss. Boom.
Go.
And that leaves the Razor Hide.
His hand is amazing.
Just a really great start. Really good first shield. Nick's early aggression finally backfiring on him.
Oh my god, 2 of the Bone Blades are in mana.
Bone blades don't really help me.
And Nick's saying Bone Blades doesn't help him right before I play Sabretooth.
Double outside 2.
And I'm double breaking. And he Storm Spark blasts. I'm like, oh, I wanted to charge mana. Oh well. Remember what I said about Nick always seeming to have Gloom Hollow in this deck, even though... There it is. The Gloom Hollow. Again. So I intentionally swing with the Sabretooth first,
Does it already have one out?
because I know he'll block it.
Your Bone Blades are gone. Try to double break.
And that way Razorhide can swing through without having to worry about another blast, so I can charge more mana. Trying to get to 8-9 mana.
Because at this point I wanted the Razorhide's ability more than the double break.
Nick's in a really bad position. I just got like all the control right now.
Now he's probably going to play a Lyra to try to stall me.
And having told Nick that I'm using Razorhide specifically for its mana generation, he chooses to hold down the Razorhide rather than the Sabretooth. I guess because he's like,
My turn.
Gloom Hollow, no worries.
Smart. Or,
And then I barrage for the 1, just so that way I can swing through and double break his last 2 shields.
Go.
And Nick scoops. He's done. He had another Lyra in his hand. Could have held down the Sabertooth, swung over the Razorhide, but
Then I guess.
Nick decided he was done. There was no going through with it anymore for him. So that is the match, everybody. 2-1 in my favor, making me tournament winner. Nick in second place. So that was the match, everybody. That was the tournament as well. Hope you enjoyed that whole rundown. As I said, the deck profile for the deck I used is coming up. Stay tuned for that. I will see you later.